All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the DSO Business Forum. My name is Glenn Hadley. I'm the Senior Vice President of Strategy at Dreamscape Marketing, and I'm your host today. We have had just a phenomenal day so far. I was just talking with Sarah earlier about this. Like the group of speakers has been amazing. The content has been fantastic. And once again, this is supposed to be the beginning of the conversation. And so I encourage everyone as you're logging in and consuming this content, that this is the beginning of the conversation and that you reach out to the speakers individually, spend some time with them, get to know about their solution. Part of the onus for this event was that there are so many vendors and solutions to issues in this space, and sometimes it can be a bit daunting. And so we really wanted to offer a forum that showcase these solutions. And so I think today has just been fantastic. Just really enjoyed the content. And this is no different. Like we're really glad to have Sarah here joining us today. And so for those of y'all that are, this is your first session of the day, you're going to put any of your tech support questions and where you're watching from, any of your comments over in the group chat over there. If you want to just hang out with Dave and Jillian and chat with them, they're the ones running the show on the back end. You can also talk with them in the chat over there. And if you have questions for Sarah specifically, you're going to put them down there in the Q&A section right below. That's where the questions for Sarah go. What we've seen throughout the day, because we are packing so much content in a short amount of time, sometimes we run out of time for question and answer. And so even more of a reason for you to reach out to the speakers individually and have a conversation. We'll get to that. So let's get into this session. Really excited to have Sarah Ruberg here today. She's going to talk about 10 simple things you can do to boost your practice's social media presence. Now, a little bit about Sarah. She helps practices and industry partners grow by offering consultation on social media strategy and management. She has spent 10 years in dentistry working at the Dental Entrepreneur Organization and 2 dental marketing companies. She held positions such as Director of Culture and Engagement, Account Manager, Project Manager, and Business Development. Her time at the DEO made her fall in love with the DSO community. She saw a need for relationship building through social media, both on the practice and the vendor side. By pairing her in-depth knowledge and connections in the industry, as well as her ability to create and execute custom strategies, Sarah is able to give her clients their time back so they can focus more on what they love to do. So with that, I want to welcome Sarah Ruberg. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's weird to hear somebody say so much about or listen to somebody talk about yourself. But thank you so much to Glenn and the Dreamscape marketing team for having me. You all have been so kind and so supportive and fun. And I love how passionate you guys are about all of the different verticals that you work in. So I'm just appreciate you guys. And I'm really excited for this opportunity. So without further ado, and one thing he did not say is that I'm an avid plant lady. As you can see, I have some plant cabinets behind me. So if anybody ever wants to talk about plants, I am more than happy to do that as well. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today, I am pumped because if you know me, then you know that I'm passionate and obsessed with building relationships. I kind of even refer to it as my superpower. And one of the best ways that businesses can build relationships with their target audience is through social media. And I know social media can seem daunting and time consuming and overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. So I made a list of 10 simple things that you can do to boost your practice's social media presence. But before I get started, I have a little bit of a secret to tell y'all. Even though this says to boost your practice's social media, these are really 10 things that are relevant to businesses as well. So industry partners that are on this within the forum, this one's for you guys too. So let's talk about why is social media important for dental practices. When done right and done with purpose, which I'll kind of get to in a little bit, Having a social media presence can help you with retaining existing patients. It can help you attract new ones. I think Camille mentioned this earlier when she was talking regarding social media, that it can help with practice culture, which then can reduce team turnover, and it can help attract top talent when you are looking to hire. So, how does social media do that? People want to feel connected to the brands that they use, and this goes for clothing brands, makeup brands, skincare brands, and you guessed it, it also applies to healthcare brands and providers too. Because as consumers, we tend to gravitate towards brands that are authentic and relatable, and we expect businesses to interact with us in meaningful ways. Excuse me. And with 7 in every 10 Americans using social media, this is where your target audience is. Therefore, this is where you need to be. So now that we know why social media is important, let's dive into the 10 simple things you can do to boost your practices or businesses' social media. And number 1, simply put, is make a decision. Commit to using social media and commit to using it purposefully. So what do I mean by purposefully? Take people inside your practice or inside your business and show them what you are all about. So I have some examples just from the dental industry. I know Dr. Hungate, amazing Dr. Hungate, is talking after I am. Simplify does a great job of highlighting all of the things that they do within their community. So that's a great representation of their company. Amal, who you heard talk earlier, I'm sure all of you follow Amal on social media. If you don't, you should, because he's the master at creating incredibly thought-provoking content. And typically it can be in long form content, but you know that that's Amal as a person, and you know that he's talking about things that are really important to him, whether it's industry related or proud father related of his kids and all of the things that they're doing. So it's a great representation of him as a person. And just kind of a funny example, Jordan Comstock is the founder and CEO of BoomCloud, and he posted on Facebook, apparently they really kind of like razz up their trash guy. I think it's like Trash Tuesday, and they all dress up. Like, I'm not talking baby dress up, like we just wear like one little thing. Somebody dressed up as oh my gosh, from the Muppets, not the Muppets, Sesame Street. The guy in the, is it Oscar? You guys are gonna have to put in the comments and help me with this, but the guy in the garbage can, they all dress up and they go outside and they just yell and scream and hoop and holler for their trash guy. And you can tell it makes them feel really special. And everybody apparently in their complex does the same thing. So that's what I mean by purposefully. If you primarily post things like, oh, did you know that blue toothbrushes are more commonly purchased than red ones? Or if you have those like national holiday calendars like saved in your browser, and those are where you pull content from, first of all, please delete that. And second of all, that's not really purposeful. Remember, people want to feel connected. Number 2, determine your unique selling proposition. I am sure if you work with a marketing company, this is already a conversation that you've had. If it's not, and you have to determine what it is, gone are the days, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but gone are the days of being able to say that you're unique for having advanced technology or being a multi-specialty practice. There are so many of those, it's hard to say that that's what sets you apart, depending upon where it is that you're at. So be creative. You can even get your team together and you can ask for their input. It could be great team building and help them to build camaraderie, because they all get to give their input and opinion. Number 3, decide if you want to manage it internally or externally. So if you're going to manage this internally, let this be one of your main takeaways from any of the things that I say today. I'm going to say this slowly. Social media is a full-time job. If you and when done right, and depending upon how fast you want to grow, this person could spend multiple hours a day creating content and engaging within the community. So if you're going to ask a current team member to add this to their workload, I want you to make it a point to set realistic expectations, allow them to set aside time blocks so that they can focus on managing social media and only social media. I'd be on the lookout for burnout and try to get ahead of that as quickly as possible. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to offer them a little pay increase to allow them to feel like this is something that they in fact can do. You can even create an internal position. You can even create an internal position to manage social media, which could be a great career path for them. I think that this is a great option for an organization, but you want to provide them with training, because just because they have 2,000 followers and love social media doesn't mean that they know how to build it for a business. That's if you hire internally. If you hire externally, I still think it's important to have somebody like an internal ambassador that works with the outside marketing company. I'm sure that when Dreamscape works with their clients and they need assets for social media or marketing or anything, that it's really important that they get those. So this internal person can help to like funnel those to them and tell them about announcements or anniversaries and things like that. So I think it's important either way to have somebody internally involved. Number 4, determine what success looks like for you. We all know the importance of KPIs, and some of these platforms have really great analytics like engagement rate or new followers or reach. You can also take a look at what type of content is or isn't working. Number 5, make sure that your Facebook and Instagram are set up correctly. This might sound kind of silly, but a lot of times when I start working with clients and they give me access to their accounts, more often than not, I see that their Facebook and their Instagram are either the wrong types of accounts or they're not connected to one another. So definitely make sure to take a look at that, because having those set up correctly can save you a lot of time. Number 6, update your profiles. Really spend some time making sure that your profiles are crisp and consistent, because when people land on your page or your profile, they should know exactly what it is that you do. Make sure your profile picture is clear and clear and legible. I've seen a lot of pixelated pictures. They don't use the right format, like a PNG or a JPEG, like the specific type of format that or file that they should use. And it looks unprofessional. So make sure that your picture looks good and incorporate your unique selling proposition. I wanted to throw this up here super fast. This is the, what I'll call it, the anatomy of an Instagram profile. And I always suggest starting with Instagram, because you're limited to 150 characters. And if you can put your elevator pitch, quote, elevator pitch of what it is that you do as a practice or a business in that 150 characters, then the sky's the limit with whatever other platform you put it on, because most of the time they have the capability to put more. But the thing that I see often, this is the username. And then this right here, the name optimized for search, is called, when you're editing the profile, the name. I feel like I've air quoted. If this was like some kind of a game of where I said one word the most, I feel like it would be air quotes. So let that be, maybe that's my signature. If Sarah does more air quotes, take a drink of water. Anywho, I see a lot of people put the same thing here that they do here. Don't do that. This is prime real estate right here to show what it is that what you do. So if you're a North Carolina, oh my gosh, Charlotte, North Carolina dental practice, don't put the same thing here. Say dental practice specializing in implants, so that people know specifically what it is that you do. They should be different. Number 7, pick a schedule that works for you. This is part of that's overwhelming. People think I have to post every day. And if you want to grow at a fast pace, then yes, you should post every day, but this is what feels right and comfortable for you. So pick something and commit to a schedule. And then that way it's not as overwhelming. I say work smarter, not harder. There's lots of platforms out there that can make your life easier when it comes to managing social media, and a lot of them are free. I'm sure a lot of you know about Canva. It's a great platform that can simplify creating graphics, videos, and much more. It's what I created my PowerPoint in, and there's a free version of that. The Business Meta Suite, and I did not say this at the beginning, and I am so sorry. Most of my 10 simple things I've applied for Instagram and Facebook. I know that there's some practices that utilize TikTok, but these primarily, a lot of these will overlap, but I'm primarily talking about Instagram and Facebook. I'm so sorry. I did not say that at the beginning. But the Business Meta Suite is actually really robust in scheduling your posts, and you can schedule both for Instagram and Facebook at the same time, and that's free. If you plan to use other social platforms like LinkedIn or TikTok, there's tons of other platforms out there, like Sendable, Sprout Social, Planoly, Monday.com, just to name a few, and some of them have free versions as well. And lastly, I really like to use Google Sheets to just create my monthly calendars, and that way I can share it with clients, I can share it with my team, and it makes it a really easy platform to be able to see everything all in one place. So I really like that too. I see a lot of people, I put this in here to work smarter, not harder, because posting manually to each and every platform, that takes up a lot of time, and you don't have to do that. Number 9 is using so now we've gotten to the point where, okay, we're going to create some content. You want to use the 80-20 rule. And the 80-20 rule indicates that 80% of social media posts should be useful to your audience, meaning they educate, entertain, or offer a solution to their problems. And only 20% should explicitly promote your business, like posting about a special that you're running, or i.e. if you're looking to do X, then contact us or DM us to schedule. So 80-20, always use that rule. And to close out my list, probably one of the most critical and parts of social media is by far engagement. By engagement, I don't just mean like, oh, I like this, and I'm going to put a fire emoji, or I'm going to put a heart emoji, or one of my new favorite ones is the little clap support emoji. I mean meaningful engagement. And I like to add the word acknowledgement. So I have a quick story. I go to a dermatologist, and I go to a dermatologist's office, and the provider that I go see specifically adore her with every fiber of my sparkly plant-loving being. And I follow them on Instagram, and they posted something and mentioned her. And I just, oh my gosh, I love Michelle. She's so great. The results that I'm seeing, blah, blah, blah. And mind you, I love this. I love my provider so much. I drive over an hour every few months to see her. And I made this post, and I was just so excited. Here I am, this like free advertising, free promotion for this dermatologist office. And it's probably been like 8 months ago, and they never liked it. And they never even responded to it. And this stinky thing is that I know it's the owner of the dermatologist's office that manages their social, and it's kind of a bummer. So when my provider went somewhere else, oh, I followed her. I did not stay. That kind of stuff really matters. And so when I say make sure to engage, I think ultimately keep the conversation going too. Don't make it just ask open-ended questions so you can keep it going. One word I did not talk about is the algorithm, because that is a whole other ball game. But the algorithm does like continued engagement. So the best way to do that and to keep a conversation going on social media is to ask questions. I feel like I kind of sped through that, but I had a lot to go over. Hopefully some of these are pretty easy. That is, let's see, I know that Glenn's going to ask me where it is that I'm going to go or where I'm going to be. And so apparently I'm really into like the country theme. So I'm going to be in Nashville for the Tech Summit and Leadership Summit in October. And then in November, I'm going to be in Houston. A lot of you know Dr. Charles Moser. He's absolutely amazing, gem of a human, and he's doing a Leadership for Productivity event in November. So that, Glenn, is where I'm going to be.
Dang, you just steal my thunder like that.
I'm so sorry, but like, look at my little guys. I imagine that's probably how you dance. Is that how you dance?
No, not a million years, but yeah, that's for another session. We'll talk, like, that'll be the next solution conference is about dancing. I do want to say, like, I really appreciate you bringing the information, because I was one of those people that went to an employee and said, hey, I need you to take over the social media aspect of this company. And we were a small national events company. Yeah. And so I said, here, I need you to take this over. And then I quickly learned the investment of time and energy. And it really is, it's more than a full-time job. We ended up building out a department to handle it, because we found that whenever we're talking about building a community and culture, and y'all, like, in this space, when we're talking about the patient experience, it really is an experience, and that is translated through culture and through community and through interaction, and all of that's done through social media. It is such a big piece of it, right? And so, being one of those that came into it, I have the utmost respect for the professionals that dig into this space, because it is such a heavy lift and it is so important.
Thank you for acknowledging that. And I'm sorry, Glenn, can I say one more thing about content as a whole? You just mentioned culture. And I know that I said that social media is great for that, but I didn't tell anybody why or how. So let me just mention that super fast. If you work at a practice or a business like Jordan Comstock's team that he highlighted about how they all dress up and like celebrate the trash guy, like, people like working at places like that. Wow, my company acknowledges me as a team member and maybe the great work that I'm doing. Like, people really, really like that. And I say this to a lot of people in regards to conversations and social media. Saying nothing is in fact saying something.
100%. We actually, on part of our marketing plans in this space and in others, has shifted so much towards staff attraction and retention. And so we leverage social media to do that, to help build that culture, and working with providers like you in the space to really develop that, because that's where we tell the company story, right? Like, that's really where people get a chance of, like, who am I going to go work with? Is this going to be just a ho-hum, another job, or is this going to be a place that I'm going to be able to thrive at, and then I'm going to want to spend the majority of my time at? And we were able to tell that story through social media. What are some other unique ways that you're seeing that being leveraged in this space? I'm kind of interested to know myself.
I think a lot of people are either posting pictures of their teams or allowing, I've seen a lot of businesses do like core value highlights. So this month we want to highlight Glenn, who exemplifies this core value of ours. People really like that. And then in turn, it helps them. They're like, oh, well, I want to share to my network how great Dreamscape thinks I am. And then my whole network is going to be like, wow, people really like Glenn, that work with him. I don't know if they really know Glenn, but I'm just kidding. And it helps with, just like you said, possible attraction of hygienists, dental assistants, office managers, associates. But I've just seen a lot of people really put those highlights and focuses on the individuals within the company, or just team building events or barbecue that they went to, or even in daily, hey, here's my coworker in the lab doing something silly. Like, they just really anything.
Well, look, I really appreciate it. I'm going to throw this up there, that if you want to continue the conversation, please reach out to us, and we'll make the connection there. And you can find Sarah all over social media. Definitely reach out there to continue this, and talk about the business ramifications of this. That this is not just social media is not just a fun vehicle. This is actually a place where business is being done, especially in the DSO space. And so I encourage you to do that. Continue the conversation. Sarah, we're really excited to have you on. Thank you so much for being a part of this this journey with us today and this panel today. And for those of y'all that are just tuning in, if you just missed it, we're going to be putting this on our YouTube channel. Speaking of social media, we're going to be blasting this out, and you can also see all these sessions on demand. And so with that, go and grab an afternoon cup of coffee or grab a drink and get ready. In about 10 minutes, we're going to be welcoming Dr. Ryan Hungate to the show, and we'll be wrapping up with him. So thank you guys so much. Sarah, once again, thank you for being a part, and we'll see you guys soon.